feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a gain. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a gain. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't stop.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody in between. Welcome to Sports Report Fight Night. I am Josie. That is my partner in crime, Mr. William H.D. Morgan.
What's up, my people? How everybody doing tonight?
It's a special night.
Yes,
we are graced with the presence of Mr. Pinball, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
And he's clean shaven. Yes.
He's clean shaven, clean cut.
Yes, he look like a congressman.
Yeah, all fresh. Mr. Pinball's in the house.
What's up, Gene? How you doing? How you been doing, bro?
Not much. Ready to talk, ready to go, doing this whole thing. Yes.
All right, let's jump right into it. You know you love it. You know it's awesome. Damn, you shaved like Shane McMahon.
Oh my gosh. That was funny. Good one, KW. Good one, KW.
All right.
Good one, my friend.
News in wrestling. I think the biggest news is last night was the first Raw since Triple H took over that there wasn't a huge surprise.
Yeah. Right.
One thing I want to talk about from last night's Raw is, God, I miss this KO. Oh my God, he's one of the best things going right now on Raw.
I'll give that to him. I will definitely give that to Kevin Owens. But it's funny, and I notice it just because I'm Canadian. He made the reference to Owen. Enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
I can't believe it's been 5 years since he held a title in WWE. That's insane to me.
Mm-hmm. What was his last big hurrah with the WWE so far? His last little thing was there with Elias. No, I'm not really Elias. I'm Ezekiel. Yeah, that whole thing.
And he took his ass out.
Yeah, so.
We've discussed this. He doesn't like you.
Oh, man. Dang, man.
No.
He's dead now. Yep, he dead now.
It was still a great Raw last night. I didn't watch it. I looked at the recap, but it looked like a great Raw. Drew and KO had a great match. We talked about this a little bit last night on Sports Report. Gene, and I'd like to get your opinion. The rumor is that Roman Reigns will not walk out of Clash of the Castle as the dual champion. USA has said recently that they want a specific title on their brand. They don't like not having a specific title on Raw, a specific champion on Raw. I've heard rumors that there's 3 ways this could happen. Drew, you make the match a triple threat, or Austin Theory.
I got a problem with both of them. It's like, Gene, to me, you lose it no matter which way you look at it. Because if you look at Theory, he ain't ready.
No.
If you look at Drew,
I agree with you.
It's a rehash. And if you look at Cross, well, I just don't like Cross. That's it.
See, I agree with you 100% that Theory's not ready unless the way comes back.
That's all. Yeah, and that's the only way I can see it happening.
And gets involved and makes him win.
Right.
And with the way it's going with Loomis, I see it. If you look, okay, there was one cool thing with Raw this past week. When he's fighting Ziggler, you see a hand in the background waving. And it's one of two people. It's either Loomis or it's the Fiend. Right now, the Fiend makes no sense in this storyline, so I don't believe
it's because you hadn't had time to build him.
No.
So I believe that's Loomis. And I fully believe the Loomis comeback is to set up the comeback of Gargano and Candice LeRae to bring back the way, to bring back the family, to make it believable for Theory to win the title.
Yeah.
KW say Drew is an okay pick. I disagree because I always thought Drew was just
okay. Well, take Theory out of the equation. Then your choice is either the belts on Drew or the belts on Karrion. Who you taking?
I don't like either pick.
Let me,
because when Drew was a champ before, his title run was like.
But you you also have to remember.
Now, I was doing McMahon's time though.
Things have changed now.
Time, but it was during
Triple H isn't going to have boring title runs.
Yeah.
Triple H is going to keep the title runs interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if you give it to Cross,
I think
you get
if
Scarlett.
Drew were to get another run, it would be a way more interesting one. You also have to remember his run was in the height of COVID.
Yeah.
It's hard to be entertaining when you're not
That's what
in front of a crowd.
Even AEW, even some of the titles that AEW had during that COVID run.
Moxley, there was a point with Moxley in his run that it got a little boring.
Yeah, it got stale and stagnant. So if you're going between, let's just say, Karrion Kross, Drew McIntyre, and Austin Theory. Austin Theory, the reason why I say I don't think they're going to drop it that early to Austin because they want to build that whole way. I feel that's coming. You wouldn't have brought back Dexter Loomis to not add that piece to the puzzle.
Makes sense.
It makes total sense. So Austin Theory, him being off right now, they'll probably play it off as like he's trying to find himself. He's trying to find it when he's ready, yada, yada, yada. To build up for the way, to build Gargano. And then having Gargano on the main roster with Ciampa doing what he's doing. Like he's doing fine with Miz.
We talked about that last week.
Boost. Yeah, that'd be a boost.
But you'll get more, you'll get better wrestling inside.
Well, and there's also the fact that Ciampa Gargano was one of the greatest feuds in NXT history.
Yep.
And it's never been done. Not even a match between the two has been done on the main roster.
Yeah.
So at some point that needs to happen. Definitely needs to happen.
I don't think they'll have it as lengthy as they did in NXT, but
it wouldn't work as a 6-month storyline as it did with NXT. It works like that in NXT the same way 6-month storylines work in AEW because they only do quarterly pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Right.
But basically, if I'm going to pick between the two, I'm going to throw out something. If KO is really trying to make that run, that push, saying, hey, I've not been in the title picture for 5 months or for the last 5 years. This is the perfect time. He's the X factor. It could happen that you get a triple threat, or it could go to a fatal 4-way, and then you drop the title mysteriously on Kevin Owens. Karrion Kross will still make that push for Roman Reigns on SmackDown, and you'll still be able to have Drew, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins. Those three alone in that mix with the title, whether it be the WWE or Universal, whatever one they put on on Raw via SmackDown.
I think Seth's about to make a face turn.
I like Kevin Owens because I think if you just drop it to Drew, you're just playing things safe. You're just really playing it safe. But if you give it to Kevin Owens, you give it some oomph. And the fans want him to have another run.
That's right. And also with this, there would be no shot still. There wouldn't be no shot laid to Drew because basically you could still build a feud between Kevin Owens and Drew. You could. And then if Drew wins, you can build a feud between Drew McIntyre, Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? You have.
But that's my thought. That's my thought with Karrion. Karrion and Drew have a past.
Yep.
So if they put the belt on Karrion, they can immediately go into a feud together, and Roman moves on.
And right now, as we're seeing with the Raw and SmackDown, They're currently, it really isn't they're not draft. There's no like split. Everybody's
There is a brand split, but no, not.
They're not acting like there's one. Like let's be completely honest. The reason why I don't see Roman Reigns is not going to be a champion due to the fact is the underlying story here that's building is to WrestleMania, to Hollywood, to get the Rock Roman Reigns feud.
As much as I want that to happen, I don't think it does.
I think it does for the simple fact that The Rock himself has even mentioned if there was something
I know
big.
He said that, but he also said that almost 7-8 years ago. The problem is now he's too damn busy. He's got movies booked out for the next 3 years.
Yeah, but here's the thing. At this point in his schedule, he still has that control where he can go, if I want to do something now.
It's not the control. Yeah. It's insurance liability. If he's under contract with a movie, even if he's not filming that movie, he may not be able to get clearance to wrestle.
We'll see how
And then you also KW's right here. Right at the peak of Mania season, they're going to be going into the championship of the first season of the XFL.
Well, to be clear, it's not like he doesn't have people running the XFL.
No, he does. Danny,
the only thing he's going to probably be. The only thing
also, you look at the showcases; he's been at every one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
He's not the type of guy to be very hands off.
No, he's not hands off. He is definitely hands on with anything. From Zoa to his companies to everything like that. But if he wants to do something, regardless of what he's doing, he knows his schedule and he knows how to multitask. If he wanted to show
again, I don't think it's the scheduling issue.
And I don't care what people say, and I don't care what anybody says. For what we feel about Roman, for what we feel about the bloodline, you get a Rock versus Roman match done correctly, with some build. A is gonna draw, and B, people making money.
I agree. It would be this generation's Rock versus Cena.
Yep.
Which was our generation's Hogan versus or Rock versus Stone Cold.
Yeah, Rock versus Stone Cold.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It would be huge. I don't think it's I really don't think it's going to be a scheduling thing. My thing is that with the contract he's under, I just don't know if they're going to let him get into the ring with the potential of him getting injured.
I'm not gonna talk on either guy's behalf, but we know The Rock. He's a master. He's master negotiator. He wants to get something done.
Particularly if it's just one match.
People believe in him.
Particularly if it's just one match.
Yeah, and he could be. Like I said, I don't see him doing nights. It's just going to be one night.
This is the exact reason we didn't get the John Cena Theory match at SummerSlam. Is because the movie he was filming, the insurance wouldn't let him.
But did you really want to see that anyway?
I mean, they're kind of similar. I think they would have put on a good match.
That's not even believable to me.
That to me,
Theory reminds me a lot of a young Cena.
I find Theory he's more like a young Miz.
Yeah, that made
that made sense to me. Not Cena,
because he's in the same position as Miz was.
Yeah, nobody believes in him. Nobody's taking him serious. He's got a lot of social media presence. That's the same thing that goes with that other guy that's on NXT that uses social media. Like those are Miz guys. You can tell they have that Miz influence.
Yep.
Austin, again, Miz influence. That's not a Cena influence. Don't get me wrong. I believe that one of his favorite characters in the WWE at one time for Austin Theory would be John Cena. Would the match be good? Yeah, draw if you had a build. But just to throw it out there into, let's say like a SummerSlam or a Mania with no build, people are going to be like, why? You know what I mean?
Right.
What was this getting over? Who's getting over what? Who's, you know what I mean? It's not. Fans still need something to sink their teeth into a match. Like look at this whole. I've been hearing this all over with news, the whole women's tournament and how they're slapping together people into this. Get the women's title
last week.
But this is what I just want to say on this is people are like, oh well, they're makeshift teams, they're not going to last. Well, the women's division, really, if you look at it, there's not very many women's tag teams. So you got to, here's Triple H trying to think, well, here's some people that are okay. You have like a viable team with, Dakota Tai and Io Shirai, but you're going to have to make makeshift teams
Right.
anyways.
Right.
And not to say
Like
that
they did with Nikki Ash and Doudrop.
Yeah. Not to say that there's not going to come out of it. Some of them are going to, stay, because not all of them are. Some of them are just doing it. Oh, I want to win it. I want to put a championship on my resume, or I want to go to that next level. But also too, you use it as a way to showcase yourself regardless. You're getting TV time, you're getting airtime. That's what Triple H is looking at it as. It's like, I'm giving you guys
the way you're saying this is the same thing I say to people with AEW. Why almost every person that's brought into AEW ends up in a tag team first.
Yeah.
One, AEW is built around tag teams. They have been since the beginning. Everybody knows the Young Bucks is tag team. Two, it helps getting you on TV, getting you some. Look at Keith Lee and Swerve. They're getting to the point where they're building back up.
Yeah.
They probably won't need to be a tag team for another month or two. I would say it ending by All Out. Probably.
I say it All Out, and this is my prediction at All Out. I have a feeling that we're going to get the Acclaim as a tag team champions.
Please,
please. You put the belts on the Acclaim. Acclaim's hot.
They're hot. They just basically had a face turn.
Yeah, everybody loves Acclaim.
Yeah, everybody's loving them right now. Their feud with the Ass Boys was amazing.
Yeah, and then you have the break between Swerve and Keith Lee. You run that for about a month as feud, and then you push Keith Lee for TNT title. Warlow and Keith Lee.
God, yes,
would really rip it up. You put Swerve starting to go for something like that. You have that.
Well,
let's say Keith Lee wins.
Is something I want to discuss later on when we get into our main topic, because I want to talk titles. But I honestly believe AEW needs some kind of light heavyweight, midweight. They need some kind of cruiserweight title.
Well, you have it right now with Pact's title, the North Atlantic title. If it was utilized correctly.
That's not going to be utilized that way. You're not even really going to see it on AEW television that much.
Whether, and this is what I'm going to say to you, whether it's used on Dark or Elevation, you can still make that title legit. Remember, and I will say this and this goes out to Ric Flair. Ric Flair would love this. Is not the title that makes the man, it's the man that makes the title.
And I 100% agree. And me and Will have had
any title.
We're going to get into that because our main topic, we're going to really dive into the 24/7 title, because me and Will almost had a fight the other day over the 24/7 title.
As I'm saying, it goes to any title.
No, I agree. That's why I believe I'm more of the proponent of the New Japan style. Have as many fucking titles as you want. It doesn't matter, because it's up to the performer to make that title relevant.
Yep.
That's why right now in New Japan, the number 2 title isn't the Intercontinental or the US. It's the never open weight. Because
and basically how it works over there is because it was IWGP heavyweight title, then Intercontinental, but now they're together.
Yeah, but right now, I would say that the second biggest title in New Japan is the never open weight, and that's because the last 2 people to hold it, Jay White, and now you got Machine Gun with it.
Yeah,
those are 2 guys that are huge over in Japan.
Yeah,
and they make that title the second best title in the company.
That's right.
That's why I honestly believe like some people freaking out about them adding the trios title and all that. I don't. I think it's a good thing. It gives more people TV time. It gives more people opportunities, builds more stories. I realize, yes, AEW does need to figure out a streaming service to get more time out there.
Honestly, this is what I say. You have Elevation and you have Dark. If you utilize them correctly, there you go. They're extra shows. If utilized correctly. They're not utilizing them correctly. If you were to turn Elevation, just follow me. If you turned Elevation to more of a show where you're grabbing, let's say, indie talent and giving them like 2 hours to actually, be like an actual show where they talk shit, and you put like an indie title over there as well, talk shit, make them feel like they're on TV, which they're technically on YouTube. They're still getting out in front of the fans. It's still live, yada yada yada, or pre-taped or whatever. But if you treat it like a physical show, not just, oh, here's some matches, go watch, it would work. Because then you could take those guys.
I understand what Elevation and Dark was originally supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a place for people to go get their feet wet and build the record.
Yep.
That AEW relies on. But honestly, I think we're to the point now that the record thing might need to go away.
Yep.
It just because like you this week you've got the tag titles on the line against Private Party.
Yep.
When Private Party aren't even ranked.
That's right. Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. If you were to turn Elevation, use it as like almost like an NXT, develop some guys that I'm not saying you take guys that are already on, like have showed up on, Dynamite or Rampage. No. I'm talking you take your Sunny Kisses and your Wingmen and whatnot, and really boil the pot in there. When you think they're ready, then you move them up to, you call them up to the the Dynamite or the Rampage, and you do it that way. You use Dark as sort of the in between time for Dynamite and Rampage. You have some feature of some of the people from your Elevation, some of the people from the actual roster. You mix it in and you make it like, a 2-hour fun show. And there you go. You can utilize it all, and it'll be done on YouTube and yada, yada, yada. You don't really need to have that extra streaming service just because what's the nonsense? You're going to charge people a little extra to get really nothing out of it.
Well, okay, this is why I feel like AEW needs a streaming service. One, they're looking to add another show, a women's show.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming up. You could also, that would also be a place for battle. And I'm talking, do it like the network used to be. Make it a special where you get your pay-per-views too.
Yep.
And all of that. And I'm not even saying they necessarily need to open up their own streaming service. They're owned by Warner Brothers. They need to figure out a way to get Warner to put them on Discovery Plus.
Yep.
All their products should be on Discovery Plus.
Yep.
Because people like me, I don't watch mine on cable. I log on to the TNT app or the TBS app, and that's how I watch all of my AEW programming.
Yep.
And it's just for ease of access. Even I've talked about it on here the last couple of weeks. Impact, I think, should do away with Impact Plus. I think it is pointless because they have the Impact Ultimate subscribers on YouTube, which I get everything with that I get with Impact Plus for cheaper.
Yep.
I watched, and I was going to talk. We'll move into this because I wanted to talk about it. Impact did it again. Another sold out weekend in Chicago. Both shows, Emergence and Second City Showdown.
Yep.
Both sold out. Will, I've said it 1,000 times probably in the last couple of months. If Impact had a legitimate TV deal, they would be fighting AEW for the number 2 wrestling promotion in the country.
I agree.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Just now with the people they've got, you've got people we can.
Scott D'Amore is the best thing that has in the 20 years of Impact. 20 years, best thing that's ever happened to it.
Yeah,
he has totally taken something that was in probably months of dying when Dixie finally got out.
Yep,
and I give it to Anthem too. They put Scott in charge. They let him take control.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
They have a contract with WWE for the next 5 years.
Yeah. They still got out with WWE. That's right.
Yeah. But no, like, how can I put this in the right way? Scott D'Amore has picked well with some of the guys and girls that he's brought in, because I know some of these people. Hey, we got to talk to Mashka right before her big push. Let's say this. It's great. It's great to see her that she's succeeding the way she is.
For Impact.
They set up Emergence, her versus Jordan Grace.
Yeah,
I was gonna tell you, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that on Facebook today.
But
Well,
also
Peacock is got a deal with WWE as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you look at people that are there, like their Speedball, Mike Bailey. He's from Montreal. I've seen his work. He's worked here in the Maritimes as well. Even Tori Decker, the one part of Violence by Design. Decker, he's from the Maritimes as well. He just did another stint here this week, out here from Ontario to the Maritimes. He was doing some talks.
Is that Diener in Impact?
Diener. Yeah, Diener, and he's actually from the Maritimes. He got his big push. He was working all the way out through here. He was working as his original gimmick here in the Maritimes was he was like a redneck, and then when he got to Impact, that's when they really gave him that more vicious heel gimmick that he's got. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? So D'Amore's went to the right people and got the right wrestlers. Like, for example,
well, not everybody that has went to Impact has been successful.
No.
What Impact?
Everybody can't get over in a company.
Well, what Impact has done is given wrestlers a place to go to have freedom over their character.
Yep.
And that if they do it right, yes, you can get over. Look at Green. Look at Matt Cardona. Look at Brian Myers, who has the record for most losing matches in a company that doesn't even count losing.
Yeah.
Who is now living his best life with Impact.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green, a new resurgence.
Yep.
The Deonna Purrazzo. Like,
but also
the list goes on and on and on.
But you also gotta look at it this way. Okay, Impact is great. It is great, but it's getting help via. You also have NWA that's still around, and Impact is willing to work with everybody. From
that's another
Ring
thing.
of Honor,
Scott D'Amore has the wrestling gauntlet.
Yeah.
That man, he has literally worked with every company. They've worked with NWA, MLW, New Japan, AEW,
and WWE.
And kind of WWE.
Yeah, because you've had on the 20th anniversary,
you did.
AJ Styles, you've had The Rock show up via video. So, like, you know, you've had WWE guys.
But I honestly believe Impact is giving us the second best era of Impact, only to be possibly over with the original, like the Asylum.
Oh yeah, I give it to them, you know, and I also give to the resurgence of the Bullet Club. They've added Ace Austin into their fold, a guy that fits perfect.
Well, and what's cool about that is I don't know what happened at the TV tapings. I've been watching Impact, so I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I'm assuming the Good Brothers dropped the titles because they're no longer signed. So if that's the case, they're about to leave Impact, and then you set up a good Bullet Club sect in Impact with Chris Bay and Ace Austin and Hikuleo coming in whenever needed.
Oh yeah, and again, the resurgence, like I said, the resurgence, what they do with the stuff they're doing, being able to work with New Japan, like AEW's being able to work with New Japan, it helps because it gives a platform for some of their guys that get to that height in New Japan, and there's really no other spot for them to go, or they have to make that really big decision. Do I go to the WWE and start all over again, or do I just, you know, plateau here and then fall out? So, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. The only option really for them in streaming, other than making their own, would be Discovery Plus. Now that Warner Brothers is owned by Discovery, Yeah. They did Shark Week. This week they're going to be doing for House of Dragons.
Yeah.
So they're helping with pumping out your product. So take their product and put it on Discovery Plus. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. If they're already doing some of your promotional stuff.
I mean, God, even just in the 2-hour episode, it was 2 hours on Dynamite and an hour on Rampage. I wanted to smack Excalibur during Shark Week on how many times he read that same clip.
To last night's Elevation, I haven't seen The Dark yet, but last night's Elevation, Danny Magic was on, and he was telling him, like, dude, you're really good at reading these the card out real quick. He goes, are you trying to suck up to somebody? Like, you know.
I'm excited. Okay, so let's talk about AEW House of Dragons tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
The match I'm most excited for is probably the Bryan Danielson versus Danny Garcia 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yep.
That their confrontation on Rampage this week was amazing.
Yeah.
You also got the return of CM Punk.
That's going to be, if Mox keeps the title for All Out and we get CM Punk Mox, that's going to be
the plan. I guarantee you. And then it All Out, MJF returns.
I don't know.
I guarantee you. I've seen these people thinking, "Oh, was it a work?" No, they've kept MJF off of TV is because the whole plan was a feud between him and Punk, and Punk was going to drop the title, and MJF was going to get his first run as a monster heel.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Punk got hurt and MJF had already dropped the pipe bomb, they couldn't bring him back 2 weeks later and act like it didn't happen. So it was better just to leave him off, looking like he's disgruntled. And then once they reconverge the titles and Punk is the true champion again, MJF comes in at the end of All Out and plants him out.
We'll see how that works. Now, the Miro House of Black stuff, I like it.
I'm interested in this. And
I'm
then
that.
and then on the same thing, Sting with the eye. Like, is Sting going to get corrupted?
The only thing I'm feeling here, if with the Sting thing, is we might get to see him go more, and him and Darby Allin do like the whole Joker Sting thing. I don't want that, but
I wouldn't mind one more run for Joker Sting. I loved Impact Joker Sting. I loved it.
Yes, I didn't mind it. Like, what I'm saying is, like, I get it. That's probably what's gonna happen. We're getting one last run with Sting. You know what I mean? He's truly trying to make Darby Allin, like, you know, his protege type thing. So I feel that's where that's gonna go, in a way, because that's the only way that you would, you know what I mean? If you're gonna do that, that's, you know what I mean? That's what comes, because then, you know, he gets a little twisted, and then you get Darby Allin Sting match, because, you know, Sting's going to start thinking, you know, stupid thoughts and break in and blah, blah, blah. I think that's where that will go for that. I'm a little bit wanting to see who's going to be with the Young Bucks.
Okay, that was my next thing. So you got Andrade El Idolo, Roosh, and Dragon Lee versus the Young Bucks. I'm putting money right here, right now. It's Omega.
That's who I was thinking too. I think that's going to be the return.
Especially now that we know for sure that Hangman is not going to be in it.
Yeah.
It's Omega. Especially with the reports we got a few weeks ago that they had to change plans.
Yeah.
Because Omega was healthy.
And he's ready to go.
Ready to come back.
But also too, if you just look at the story on how Adam Cole played it, and he's sort of, you know, getting to the point.
It was a callback to his kick out. It was a callback to his kick out at New Japan. So it only makes sense, especially with all but one of the Undisputed Elite.
Either you're
not
getting
healthy at the moment.
Either you're getting Kenny Omega, or we're getting Marty Scurll because that's the only way that
Marty
plays out.
Scurll. You have not heard word one of Marty
He's been
Scurll
working in Germany.
since
He's
his
been working in
incident.
Germany. So, you know what I mean?
I don't think it's Marty Scurll.
No, I don't think either. But you know what I mean. You'd have
The
to
only person that makes sense in my head to team up with the Young Bucks is Omega, unless they pull a huge swerve and it is Brandon Cutler.
I don't see.
I don't see that.
Unless that's how they started off.
That is
Brandon,
how it's going to start off.
You
I
think
guarantee you, they're going to play it as they're settling for Cutler because it's all they had. And then Omega's music's going to hit.
Somewhere in the middle, somewhere like Brandon Cutler gets knocked out or something, and then all of a sudden, one of the Young Bucks need a tag, and one of the other Young Bucks are down, and then all of a sudden you hear do 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 do, and then Omega comes running, and then
I don't want to see them win. Let me say that right here. I do not want to see Omega and the Bucks as the inaugural Trios champions.
Yes, you do. Don't even lie.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Don't even lie. You pick your chalk. All in that match. You pick your chalk.
That would be who I would pick. I think they deserve it. They've been there since the beginning. You want to see
Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, really?
I love them.
I love Orange Cassidy, but it's Omega and the Bucks. As much as I can't stand the Young Bucks, and I can't stand the Young Bucks.
Omega and the Young Bucks look good. Like when they're a tag team and then they're
a great tag team, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be in the finals.
And plus, he puts a championship. And plus, he puts a championship right back on Omega. Plus, he puts a championship right back on Omega. Because I don't want to see. Because I don't want to see Kenny Omega as AEW World Champ again. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
How can I put this? I feel that if we get Omega later on as champion again, per se, we don't need all the entourage and the
if he has another run, one, it doesn't need to be for at least a year, probably two.
Yep.
Two, it needs to be a face run.
Yeah. I still I'd like to see a more of a cleaner, like the cleaner version Omega. More, you know what I mean? If you're going to give him a heel run, give him that type of thing where he doesn't fucking care about nobody and no one but himself.
There you go.
That's
the best way to be the heel.
That's the type of run we need. We just
I think they're saving that for MJF. I think that's going to be MJF's heel run. Fuck everybody. I got this on my own. Because the Pinnacle is no more.
Yep, Pinnacle's done.
I think as much as it pains me because I think he's talented and just can never get a good break. I think Sean Spears, once his contract is up, he's done.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody gets over in every company. And Sean Spears is just the guy who couldn't make it for whatever reason.
I think for Sean Spears, if before he goes out, I'd like to see him at least TNT champion. Give him
at least once. At least once.
I think it could. I think not with right now with Wardlow, no. But what I'm saying is, I got a feeling that you could do it. It'd be well done. But
who takes the bit off Wardlow though? He's over right now.
He's over. But you would, like I said, once you break up Swerve and their glory,
honestly,
Keith Lee.
What I want to see with Wardlow, CM Punk comes back, they reunite the titles, he feuds with MJF, loses the title to MJF, and then Wardlow invents the option C in AEW, cashes in the TNT title to try and take the title for MJF. He doesn't win it, but that to me is the best way for Wardlow to drop the title because I don't see even Keith Lee, I don't know if that's believable to beat Wardlow the way you're beating him, building him right now.
Honestly, it doesn't even have to go over with Keith Lee, as Keith Lee has never had a heel run.
Nope.
And this would be the perfect time to give Keith Lee a heel run. So when they have the middle of the match, he does something like you wouldn't expect Keith Lee to do, rip a belt, the belt buckle off and win it that way. He wins it by nefarious means, and he comes to find out that he likes it, and he goes heel.
Wasn't he primarily a face in the E?
Always.
Yeah,
he's
was
never
he's
had
always face.
he's
Yeah.
never had a nationally televised heel run.
Always was face.
Yeah. So I think this would be perfectly be able to work for him. You know what I mean? And then you play it off as, oh well, some of Swerve's underhanded tactics rubbed off. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to play it off.
So then
if done correct.
So then you have him as a TNT champion. Shawn Spears challenges him. Spears gets
his
him
first
for a
actual
run.
babyface push in AEW. And it doesn't have to be long. I'm not stating it's going to be like a year. He's the champion.
Oh,
but
give him at least a 4 or 6 month reign.
Yeah, you know what I mean. At least a nice run, and then he goes off into the sunset.
Right.
And whomever takes it out from him from that point, because right now, you think when you see Shawn Spears, you're not thinking technical wrestling now. You just think he's just a gimmick. He's just a patsy.
He's the chairman.
Wasted talent. That's what I think.
But he is talented. He is technical. He is a good wrestler. He's solid.
Wasted talent.
He's got a really hot wife.
Yes. Yes, Lord. But for real though, back on him for a second, it's like if you don't put a run on him, it's like it's wasted talent.
Yeah. It was almost as wasted as what he was in the WWE.
All right.
And if we're going to be serious, it's like Dusty always said, if I'm going to be a jobber anywhere, I'd rather be a jobber in the WWE than any place else.
Exactly.
So
Dusty was right on that.
That took a little longer to go over news than I thought it would, but moving on, the topic I really wanted to talk about tonight is me and Will got into a heated discussion.
Yep.
The rumor is that Triple H wants to move away from the 24/7 title, which I totally agree with. Has no legitimacy. There's nothing there. Now, Will's argument is that at the moment, it's keeping guys working. It's keeping guys on screen. It's giving them something to do. Even if it's a stupid 10-second comedy bit, which I don't disagree with. My thing is, don't do away with the title. Redo the title.
Well, like I said before, because you go back and look at the 24/7 title, it's nothing but the hardcore championship without blood. That's all it is. I mean, so if you bring it back to blood,
in our discussion,
there you go.
We both agreed in our discussion. The best thing you can do with it is make it some kind of hardcore championship.
Yeah,
especially now that we're back to TV 14. Even though if you watched Raw last night, it was rating TV PG. It was not 14.
It wasn't 14.
But they're getting back to it.
If that's where we're going,
you might as well bring back the hardcore championship.
Some kind of hardcore or no rules.
And like Josie said, and I agree with Josie on this.
Yeah.
You come up with a special belt for Truth, because Truth is the greatest champion of that belt.
That's what I was gonna say.
You come up with a special belt.
If you do rebrand the title, Truth wins it from whoever has it right now. And then Truth comes on TV on a Raw or a SmackDown and announces its retirement.
Yep.
With that, you could then release a replica 24/7 title, Truth belt, like they did with Foley, like they did with Stone Cold down the road. You could release a replica 24/7 title, and people would buy that because it is synonymous with Truth.
That's right.
And
I
then
don't like the fact. I just don't like the fact.
But then Truth says, but we're not getting rid of the title. We're rebranding it. It's becoming the middleweight title or a hardcore, whatever. Something that gets guys working and gets them working
right
to be good wrestlers, not to be. And I'm not shitting on comedy wrestling. I love comedy wrestling. I think all wrestling has a place everywhere.
Yep.
People bitching about Moxley kissing Effie. Come on. It was a fucking wrestling bit in 2022.
Yep.
But like I said, my point is this. You can put that belt on a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't be a champion. I mean, you could put the belt on, you could put that 24/7, they won't do it, but you could put the 24/7 title on Titus O'Neil and be believable.
But you could put the in-ring career is done. My thing is
I'm just saying it could be anybody that you want to give opportunity.
My argument there is if you rebranded it, you could still do that. You could still put it on anybody. yes, it would take some time to build some legitimacy, and you'd have to have some good reigns in the beginning. But you could still put it on Theory or Loomis, or if Gargano's coming back, or Ciampa or Miz or whoever.
What
as much as
think
I
what we're
love
talking
comedy
about
wrestling,
here-
I don't think that there's really a place for
what I
comedy
think we're
wrestling
talking
belts.
about here is it goes back to the day in the W, and this is the truth, in the WWF. Before we had all these multi titles, you had a very straight path. Okay, so you had the main title being the Wing Diesel WWF Championship.
Yep.
Behind it, your workhorse title, the title that you could put it on almost anybody, and it was like, okay, that guy that you put it on, you're calling him the next WWF champion with the Intercontinental title, because that's what it was. It was the workhorse title.
It was.
Look at the guys that held the Intercontinental title, and then look at the guys who were go on to move to become heavyweight champions. I.e., you could always pretty much say, if you held an Intercontinental Championship,
at some point you're going to be the champ.
You're going to be the champ.
Yep.
Shawn, Brett, we could have seen it with Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect if things had worked out, even whatnot. But anyways, that's what we need. And here with the problem is, and it's, I'm not trying to get down on society, where society's out there, there's a, a participation award for everybody type thing. But what we need to do is give us a straight path on everybody wants to become the champ. Stone Cold said it. If you're not into wrestling, become the guy, then get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Okay. Straight up.
Right.
So you need that path. All those other championships are resume builders, are the way for people to look at you and go, how legitimate are you as a contender to my championship? So you have to have that path. And with all these multiple championships,
the path
makes
is
a little
bumpy.
harder.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder. Yeah.
So
it does, but it's like we were saying earlier. I believe that it's not the title that makes the man, it's the man that makes the title.
Right.
So you've got to be willing.
That's right.
Like The Miz has done, 5-6 times in his career to come back to the Intercontinental title to make it relevant again after someone fucked it up.
Yeah.
And John Cena with the U.S. title did that 3 or 4 times.
Yep. He did.
And so you got to understand, okay, yes, right now these I don't even care if you change the title. Just change the fucking name, change the rules of it. Leave the title the same. Call it the R-Truth Memorial title for all you care.
Yeah.
Just give it some relevancy. Give it some storylines. Make it mean something to me.
That's right.
Because I'm sorry, the 24/7 title, never, not once did I care about it.
No. And also, how can I put this? You could be having a legit match in the middle of the ring, and all of a sudden, here's a bunch of people come running out and break the fucking tension of this really great match, and it ruins, you know what I mean? So I'm not shitting on R-Truth, because honestly, R-Truth made that title relevant. When R-Truth held it, it was like you wanted just to see the comedy that was coming out of it, which is great.
Because R-Truth is comedy wrestling gold.
Yeah.
Like one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not his only claim to fame, but it's very. But he's the best when it comes to comedy wrestling.
See, the thing is, it is in the E.
Yes,
he is a comedic wrestler in the E. He had one serious run for 6 months with Miz.
And don't forget his NWA stuff too.
But that's what I was saying. But if you go back and look at his Impact, his NWA stuff, he had 2 runs as NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Yep.
Which most of us would say is one of the biggest titles in wrestling.
And that was
he's still part of one. It's not the best promo, but he's still part of one of the best promos in wrestling.
Yeah, but at the time, and let's admit to it, the time when R-Truth did that NWA run, that was at a time he had just been fired from the WWE, got fired because there was nothing for him to do. Yep. So then he wanted to prove to them, like, hey, dude, you guys fucked up, and when he got back,
that's why Truth will never leave.
Yeah, but when he got back to the WWE, he knew exactly where he was going to go, because his career by the time he had finished what he had done in TNA, he knew that he wasn't going to last long in ring. So he knew he was transitioning to comedy wrestling.
The only person in wrestling history to come from Impact to WWE and have the same song.
Yep.
Only person to ever do it.
Yep.
That is true.
Yep.
What's up?
Yeah. That is true.
Because it's his song.
Yeah,
Legit.
it's his.
Legit.
He
owns the
legit
right
song.
to it. He can use it anywhere.
Yeah, it's his right. You know what I mean? But
KW, you were right.
I still
Ruth
think
is definitely a future Hall of Famer.
oh, yeah.
Honestly, in more than one company. He could be a Hall of Famer with Impact. He could be a Hall of Famer with WWE and NWA.
I still think
no doubt.
Yeah, I still think they should have let him beat Cena at Capital Punishment. That's just me. If you beat Cena at Capital Punishment, then drop it back to him on Raw.
He just needed one. I just would have loved to see him have one.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to seen him have a Kofi or a Big E moment. Like I really would have.
I think honestly, to be honest with you, so he wins. Let's say he won at Capital Punishment, he becomes champ. It would have played up to his whole at the time the Jimmy gimmick.
The little Jimmy boy.
Jimmy. And he's like, hey, little Jimmy, we won. And then, you have it like a Raw moment where it's like.
Could you imagine the celebration of him trying to, having little Jimmy on his shoulder and trying to hand him the belt? The belt keeps falling.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious.
That would have been great.
That would have
been hilarious.
Yeah. And then the next night he loses it, and then he blames it on little Jimmy.
He blamed on little Jimmy to lose. Yeah.
Yeah. It would have worked. It could have worked over. The whole Capital Punishment thing, and even how he dresses up, as a Confederate soldier general, and
I mean, truth is definitely like he is wrestling. He can do it all. He's shown it all. He's had an amazing career that people don't realize. Just
man is
he's
in
not
his 40s.
Yeah.
And the man's in his 40s. It can still go.
And he's now doing a rap career at the same time as he's doing wrestling. So, I don't shit on R-Truth by no means like that. But he knows what he had to do by the time he comes. And that's the same thing. Look at guys. Yes, he is. He is.
Motherfucker.
He is. Yes.
Yeah. But you look at guys who's come back, and let's say they've been put in a position like a jobber type position, but they do it because it's needed, and they know exactly where they're at. They went over here, they did that. Look right now at Cesaro over at AEW. He's finally, Ring of Honor champion. Finally, you know what I mean? Like he finally gets a championship, but we all know what's going to happen once he loses that title. Is he going to become AEW champion? No.
Nah.
Is he going to get pushed majorly big anywhere else? No. And Cesaro knows that. That's why he went over, have his one big moment in the sun, and if he does go back to the E or wherever he goes from there,
I could see. Well, this is the thing, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier as far as TV deals and streaming. They need a place for ROH to land. ROH needs a weekly show. And I think I could see Cesaro being the face of ROH.
Oh, yeah.
For a long time coming.
Yeah. I think if Tony Khan and them were smart, right now you have, Elevation and you have Dark. To me, Elevation right now is mainly a women's show.
I'll give them Dark.
Then go give them. That's right.
Give them Dark.
Instead of AEW Dark, it's ROH Dark.
Yeah, give them Dark.
And let them have the weekly show. They're on YouTube, for Christ's sakes. It's not like it's going to hurt them.
Right.
Well, but see,
they can do 3 hours.
Y'all know Tony hates.
I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. Now, what I will say is Tony is getting a big head and not making some of the best decisions with it. But he is a smart man, and he does know business, and he does know wrestling, and he's made a lot of really good choices. But lately, not so much. And I think that's also, though, why you have guys like Sanjay Dutt, QT Marshall, Tony Schiavone, and Pat Buck stepping into more high-profile creative roles.
You have that, and I think also, too, you this goes back to when this whole thing was formed. Let's go back to when AEW was formed. Tony Khan was only supposed to be the money man. The guys that were supposed to really, truly run the show were your Kenny Omega.
No. Tony said from the very beginning he was never going to do that. No.
Here's the funny thing. If we go back to the beginning, who was really trying to create the company AEW? Not Tony Khan.
But see, Tony had been trying to get a wrestling company off the ground. They came to him and brought his idea. But from the early meetings, it was always going to be Tony running the creative. Now, did Cody think he was going to have more control than he actually did? Yes. But that happened because in the first year, the Bucks and Cody and Omega were making some stupid storylines. And that's why Tony took over full creative control.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
But here's the thing, though. If you look back at it, the reason why they were making those stupid creative control things were because they're trying to bring stories that they were already doing over in Japan. They didn't believe that they didn't believe that the Western fans, which 90% of them don't watch New Japan, let's face it. So they're trying to play catch up.
But AEW fans did watch Japan.
I'm talking, yes, but you know what I mean. We're talking again, doing a TV deal like WWE says. They're not looking to their hardcore loyal fans. They're going to the guy that's turning the TV on.
And I agree with you there, but I don't think it's 100% Tony's fault. I do say what's happened recently is Tony's fault.
Yeah.
And especially if the rumors behind the scenes that he's getting starting to be like Kevin Dunn on the radio.
Don't do that. Man.
But you know what I mean?
In the time since Dutt and Marshall and Buck and Schiavone have taken over, I think it's been 3 weeks now. Stories have started to make more sense. Directions have started to make more sense.
And it also takes that pressure off Tony too.
And that's, I think, part of it too, is you also have to remember Tony doesn't just run AEW. He has a
football team,
corporate job with the Jaguars. He also runs another soccer club. The man has a lot on his plate.
Yep. Plus part-time with his dad's company with oil. So it's the dude's stretched.
And then you got the whole is my dad corrupt storyline going on too in his real life.
And that's what rich folks do. They keep moving.
Yeah.
They never stand still. They never sleep. You can't sleep and expect to be that rich.
No. And I mean, people want to keep talking. Well, this could be I don't think AEW is ending. No. I honestly will say right now, AEW will still be around in 20 years. Will it be exactly what we see now? Fuck no.
AEW's got too much of a market share. He has grabbed the number 2 spot in wrestling. Unless he does something really stupid like a Vince McMahon slush fund for sleeping with stars, the company's not going to end.
No,
y'all don't listen to Josie with this. Y'all don't listen to Josie with this holy Dow art stuff. Josie, good and doggone well you'll have a slush fund if Nikita Lyons came up to you right now. You have a slush fund.
I wouldn't need I wouldn't need no slush fund because I would not be hiding it. Yeah. I would be putting it out on the world.
but let's be honest. There was at the very beginning, going back to this, at the very beginning with the original group of guys, there were certain promises made that they were going to have creative control on certain things.
Cody said he'd never put a title on himself?
That's correct.
but Cody also that was Cody's choice.
Yeah.
That was not a Tony choice.
No.
Right.
And I'm not stating that it was Tony or Cody. They're both hanging.
I disagree. From what I remember reading in the beginning, it was always said that Tony was always going to have final say on everything.
I think that's what comes out now, but I think at the beginning, if you really looked at it, you really listened to like Kenny and the Bucks at the beginning, they had the pipe dream that they were creating this company because they had done All In. And when they try to
they try to do that.
All In is what got Tony interested.
They try to do that Kevin Nash WCW stuff.
All In.
They try to do that Kevin Nash WCW stuff. That's they try to do.
No, he didn't have anything into it, but I don't know. We have different remembrance because I remember reading several articles saying that from the Bucks, from Omega, from Rhodes, from Tony, that everything would always go through Tony.
And it makes sense because if you the money man,
they wanted a non-wrestling guy at the top.
And it makes sense because if you the money man, you should have final say.
They were putting them in as like, okay, so here's our idea. Can you go okay on this? Sure. You know what I mean? That was their idea. Then later on, everything gets the way it is. I'm not saying that Cody's in the wrong, and I'm not saying, Tony's in the wrong, because they're both probably, by the time it comes to it, you're going to get big heads. Everybody's going to get big heads.
Honestly, I will put money on this too. At some point before the end of his career, Cody ends up back in AEW.
Who's to say anything different? It's like Undertaker says, never say never, right?
Facts.
Never say never.
Facts. You could, I guess.
My theory is with that is if he were to, he goes over, he's gonna at some point win the championship. We all know that. And then he does his 4-year contract. Well, then that also, in wrestling terms, would void his I'm never going to hold the title here.
Yep.
He's left. He's come back. He could now win the AEW championship.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And people would enjoy it. They'd be following him just as much as they follow him now.
What pisses me off is all the people that hated on him when he was with AEW and all the shit. And I'm sorry. And now you want to love him when he's giving you the exact same character he was giving in AEW for 3 years.
Now, the thing that made me mad, the thing that making me mad, every time about Brandy Rose about the debut. Nah, man, that's the thing that pisses me off. We don't need to see her. No.
Yeah. No. The thing for me is with Cody that doesn't tick me off, that I just laugh about. To me, I think Cody was the first straw on this whole new wave in the WWE, but it takes Cody to come in, Cody with the Kingdom song, Cody with this whole new look. Remember the first few promos, even with Miz. Well, it's not a belt, it's a title. We're not wrestlers, we're superstars. All these little hints to where we were getting this change and we're getting this wave, and now it's continuous.
So the last thing I wanted to end on before we get out of here was there's a rumor that they're promoting a match between Cody and Seth Rollins on a Raw August 26th, I think.
Is that's too soon?
There's rumors coming out that he is ready and coming back. But we all know a lot of times on the commercials they put on TV, those things have
subject to change.
Because you at the bottom, there's a small print card.
And those things have been filmed months in advance, and things could have changed. But we all know who Cody's idol is, and that's Triple H. And Triple H came back from a torn pec in 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
He did,
and that would be exactly where Cody's at right now.
He did.
Yep. And if he's got if he went through the same rehab and done all the same stuff that Triple H did, and I know Triple H is a person that would, keep him up to date and tell him how he did it in 4 months. We'll see Cody back in 4 months. Healthy,
so if that's the case, we see Cody back at the end of this month.
Yeah.
Too soon.
I mean,
we'll see.
I get what he's doing. I'm not a fan of the WWE run just because I thought they were building something exciting at AEW, and I still think what happened between Sammy Guevara and Scorpio Sky was going to be Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes. And then the reason they had to scramble and put 2 titles on Scorpio Sky was to make the story make sense as it would have for Guevara and Rhodes.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, at the same time too, like we know, cards are subject to change and people's feelings can change. And the opportunity presented itself for him to show up at WrestleMania.
Well, and
which one?
It wasn't just that. From the rumors, is he was wanting a lot of money.
Yeah, but look at this. Which place gave the bigger payday? Which place gave him the pyro that he wanted? WWE got it. And ever since then,
I will say this. I sort of kind of see where Josie's going with this, because back in the day, WWE used to be the end all be all. Yep. That's not necessarily the case anymore.
Nope.
So I get where you're coming from.
Well, and especially now that we're coming out of, and we talked about this last week, Will, now that we're coming out of the sports entertainment area, and like WWE, just in the last 3 weeks, like every show has said wrestlers and pro wrestling, and they've referred to the belts as belts and not just championships. And like a lot of things that Vince would have never allowed have just little things that only people like you and me are going to recognize.
Yeah.
But now that we're in this where it's all a level playing field, because just a month ago, Will, we were saying there's pro wrestling and then there's WWE.
There's sports entertainment.
Now I would say there's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And I mean, Triple H has even said it. He wants to go to more of a style of AEW, New Japan, more of a sports-based style.
Ain't nothing wrong with strong style. There's
nothing wrong with the sports-based style. And then, especially like Triple H showed in NXT, he can do the sports-based storytelling in the ring and still throw in a little bit of the WWE storytelling backstage. And he's even done that better on Raw in the last 3 weeks. Like the little things we saw with Loomis, that whole episode, the hand I mentioned behind Theory, like little things. You've seen more coherent backstage. Like it looks like the guys are literally just back there hanging out and talking instead of it being just this
feels scripted.
Scripted thing. I wish AEW would do that more. I hate that every one of AEW's backstage interviews is by that fucking TV. I hate it. It just seems so planned. And then someone's going to walk up like they weren't just standing right there.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston points it out so many times every time he does it. So you're giving me 5 seconds. And this guy got, 5 minutes. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like you hear it too often. But yet again, we got to realize AEW still trying to find their little niche. They're great in the ring. They can pull off the great story, but it's what's killing them is, and I'm not saying on commentary because it ain't commentary that's killing them. It's definitely the stuff behind the scenes. They got to get better on that. They really got to be able to okay, well, let's go to the locker room or let's go to, not just
there needs to be a little bit of storytelling behind the scenes. There needs to be. They've tried for 3 years now to use BTE as their storytelling base and just not. I don't even watch BTE.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, I think that's about going to do it tonight for another episode of Sports Report Fight Night. Got to say thank you to Mr. Pinfall. You never know when he's going to swing by.
That's why you got to watch the shows, because you never know. You just never know. I'm like the Undertaker. You know what I mean? Never say never.
How did Paul Heyman say about Brock Lesnar? The less you see him, the more important he is.
That's right.
But all right, guys, y'all have a great night and a great week, and we will see y'all next week for another round of Fight Night.
No chance.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single